Hey guys, and welcome back. My name's Abby, and I film a lot of videos. And if you like them, give them a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Hey guys, it's Abby. Today I wanted to try something new with my channel, or new to my channel. I've been doing a lot of makeup looks, as y'all can see from my channel, but I'm trying to switch it up a little bit and put some more creations out there on the horizon on my YouTube channel. So today I thought it would be a good idea to teach y'all how to make my world famous scrunchies. Just kidding, they're not world famous, they're maybe Cyprus famous, but they're still really cute and they're really easy to make, so I figured why not show y'all. So I'm going to teach you everything that I do, like the process of how I make the scrunchies, from buying the fabrics to sewing it all together and making the scrunchie. What I usually do is I go to a crafting store, usually Hobby Lobby, to get my fabrics, and I usually just get like a 1/4 yard. This isn't a 1/4 yard, but I get just a 1/4 yard of fabric usually. And then I cut little strips of the fabric going all the way down. So then eventually, obviously this is a different color, but you get strips like this to make your scrunchie with. So I can get about like 15 strips like this in about a 1/4 yard. So it's a very good investment, especially if you want multiple of many designs, like if you're selling them or something. It's a great investment to start like that. So let's go ahead and start making these, I guess. So if you're planning to go like big or home with these scrunchies and make some for your friends or whatever, or you are trying to sell them, I would recommend getting a big pack of hair ties. I got the 100 pack from Walmart just because it's very cheap. It's like $6 I think for 100, so it's a very good deal, and especially if you're going to make a lot of them. If you're not, obviously get like a little package or something. But this is a very good investment, especially if you lose hair ties just in general. It's a good investment just to have them around the house. So you're going to take one of your hair ties, and I like to stretch them out as much as possible first, because even though the amount of fabric that you use depends on how stretchy they are as well, I think this also helps the elasticity of the scrunchie. So I just like to stretch this out a little bit, and then we just get going. Oh no, I broke it. The only con with some of these is when you're stretching them out, some of them do break, like this one just did, which kind of stinks, but it's okay. I'm not going to use this, just for an example and whatever. Okay, so now I'm going to take some thread. I just have some very thin embroidery thread, and what I usually do is I like to have the thread about like 1.5 or 2 times the length of your strip for your scrunchie. So you don't obviously have to like exactly measure it, but just kind of eye out where you think it would be best. I think I'm going to go a good like 1.5 times of the strip. And also make enough room so then you can knot your string and everything and still have enough to thread the whole scrunchie. So I'm just going to make a few knots through this, just so then the string doesn't go through the fabric, because that's not fun. Alright, so now I have the knot in there, and I just cut off the excess off of the bottom. So now there's just a knot right there, and that's exactly what we need. And now I'm going to take just a regular needle. It doesn't really matter what type of width it is or anything like that. As long as it can sew, it doesn't matter. So I usually like to wet the end of the string just because it's easier to thread through the eye of the needle. So you're just gonna thread this string right on through. Sorry guys, I'm trying to look, but I'm trying to look at y'all too. Okay, so you're just gonna thread this through the eye of the needle, which I just did, and you're going to have it have the end string come down to about halfway of your string. Alright, and now I think we're finally ready to start sewing the strip of fabric that we have around the hair tie. So, inverting can be a little tricky for your first time, but I'm going to teach y'all inverting just because it's easy and quick. I'm going to fold the fabric in half around the hair tie, so then the hair tie is in the fabric, and then you're going to start at the this very corner of the fabric. You're going to thread your needle through, and I do a few whip stitches to start off, just so that you get a good steady like base / start going, and then we're gonna switch to a different one. So I do a good 7 to 10 stitches of those, and then we move on. Now that I did those stitches, here it is so far. Obviously it's inside out, but it's supposed to be. Don't worry, we're gonna flip it at the end. But now since we have those little stitches going, now we're going to do a running stitch for the rest. And basically a running stitch, I don't know if y'all will be able to see this, but it's the simple version of a stitch. You're gonna take your needle and you're gonna go through the hole. Sorry, these visuals are not good. You're going to go through the hole, go around, so then you have a stitch like that instead of the whip stitch, which is like that. Okay, so then you're going to go the other side, so you're going to start from the back and then go to the front again, and then the back and front. And then you can do multiple stitches of these at once. That's why I like doing the running stitch better than the whip stitch all the way through, because it's a lot more efficient on time. So, once you get a few of these stitches going and your needle is getting pretty taken up with the fabric, then you can just pull the needle right on through. And then bam, look at that. You have like 5 stitches done already. And I think it's very convenient to do it this way instead. So you're going to go all the way through your strip of fabric and go all the way around the thing. So as you're going around the scrunchie, make sure that you're still folding the fabric and it stays, and the hair tie stays inside. So if you're following along, do that really quick, and I'll be right back once I'm done. Alright, so I'm almost done with my scrunchie. I'm just going to finish up this little bit that I have, and we're going to go to the very end of this corner right here. Alright, so I only have a few stitches left to get to that little corner, so I'm going to make those whip stitches because whip stitches hold up a lot better and they're a lot tighter. So I'm going to do that for the very end, and then we'll finish up what we're doing here. Now, since we have both ends done, we just need to connect them, but first we have to invert them and make it not inside out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knot off this end, but I'm not going to cut the knot. I'm just going to make a knot just so that when we invert it, the thread stays in place. So make it a pretty hefty knot because you don't want it going through the fabric again, just like the last knot that we did. So now since my thread is knotted and it's still in the fabric and it ain't moving anywhere, that's a good thing. So now we're going to take our needle out just for a second and keep that thread going, like keep it on there. So now it doesn't matter what end you start on necessarily as long as you get done, but I usually like to start at the beginning end that doesn't have the string coming from it, just because I don't like to work with this string. I like to work with it as least as possible. So what I usually do is I take just a normal makeup brush, like a pretty normal width, about the width of a finger, a little bit less, and what you're going to do is you are going to literally start inverting the thread. So it's going to be like this, and you're just going to go straight through. So when you start to see that thread, or the fabric coming through the right way, you just continue to do that, and I take a brush and just push the inverted fabric through that little hole or tube that I like to call it. So you're just going to do this until all of the fabric is pushed through, and it's a little hard to see like if there's still fabric remaining in the inverted stuff. So what I like to do is I just like to push it until I feel like it's all out, and then both ends are showing normally again. So just keep on pushing this through. Ooh, that was a good shot. Just keep on pushing this through the fabric until both ends are inverted all the way. And then I'll come back for your next step. And this is probably the trickiest part. So you see how there's still a lot of fabric in the scrunchie that I had to get out, but I can already see an end that is done, and it's this end, but there's still a lot of fabric in there, so I have to get the excess fabric still inverted. So what I like to do is I like to take some tweezers and just kind of go in there and try and pull out the fabric that I can, because sometimes it's hard to just shove a stick in there and hope for the best. So just try and find your way around it a little bit more, and sometimes that's best to just pull the fabric straight out. Alright, so now obviously you have to have a lot of patience to make these, especially this way, but I mean honestly it turns out the best quality because now you're not going to see any little seams or anything. Like, we sewed over that, but you literally can barely even see it. So it's really nice, and it will break a lot less if you do it this way. So even though it requires a lot more patience, it's honestly the better bet. So now obviously you can still tell we have to sew this back together. So you're going to take this thread. Now that our needle is threaded through, we're going to take it and we're going to start on this side. And I like to do whip stitches for the end just because it's a very strong stitch, so it'll hold a lot more. So then you're just going to kind of whip stitch from side to side and do that all the way around the scrunchie. Alright, and now since I did my whip stitch all the way around my scrunchie, there are no more holes. Yay! So, now we're almost done with our scrunchie. So, now you're going to take this, your thread. I'm so not specific. Okay, you're going to take your thread and you're just going to kind of grab some fabric onto your needle. It doesn't really matter how much you grab or anything like that, as long as you grab fabric. And you're going to thread your thread through the fabric, but you're not going to go all the way, and you're just going to knot the thread, and you're going to pull through, finish up that knot, and make sure it's really tight on there because you don't want it to fall apart now. And then you're going to take your needle off your thread and just simply cut your thread so then it's not seen. And then, bam, you're done. There's the scrunchie. Even though it took a little bit longer than expected, I'm really happy with how this turned out. And I have lots of different designs that I do. I have so many different colors. So they're really fun to make as long as you know how to make them. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this scrunchie tutorial, and I hope that you're able to make that at home. If you have any questions about them while you're making them, leave it in the comments below. I'll try and answer you as soon as possible, and so then you have a little scrunchie to use. I think that's it. If you like this video, press the thumbs up button down below. If you're not already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's kind of a lit time. We're getting there. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments or concerns, or want to give me suggestions for my YouTube video ideas because I'm dry, then leave them down in the comments. I will be glad to treasure every single one of your comments, and yeah. I love y'all the most. So I'm going to close out today's video here. I hope y'all enjoyed once again, and see you next time. Bye, guys.